Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick Nunji. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock movie that some may say is one of his best pieces of work. I do love the film and I want to talk a little bit about it. There's so much that we can talk about in terms of classic TV shows and movies, but today I'm going to focus specifically on the Psycho house, where it was originally and then where it was today, and the fact that it was even moved, because I recently went to visit the location of the Psycho house and I wanted to share some of this information with you. So getting right into it, this movie is so iconic. It starred Janet Leigh, and she played Marion Crane, and she's driving up this long and lonely road on a dark, rainy night and is looking for a place to stay. Now, she found a little more than she thought she was going to find when she stopped at a tiny motel with 12 rooms and 12 vacancies. Now, who ran this hotel? A very strange man by the name of Norman Bates. And of course, this film being Psycho, you can understand how important the Psycho Mansion, the Psycho House was, and Universal, the company who produced the movie, they knew this was super essential to get a house that was very iconic, and you'll be surprised to know the history about this house. Now, if you go up to the house today, this is footage from my recent trip to Universal Studios Hollywood. I was getting footage so I can make several videos for all of you to share about classic TV shows and movies. And if you look at the house, you'll notice that it does have 4 sides of the house as well as a roof. Now you may think, oh, well, of course it does. Well, this is not true, because originally the house was only a frontal and partial side facade, and there was no rear and interior to the whole house. It's actually pretty unbelievable if you actually see it back then. Before I show it to you, if you look really carefully on the top left on the second floor of the Psycho house, you'll be able to spot Norman's mother peering out of the upstairs bedroom window in her rocking chair, and yes, she is moving back and forth, skeleton face and everything, and it is super creepy to see that as you are driving by. Now, in 1964, people who went on the Universal Studios tram tour, they absolutely loved seeing the Psycho home, and it's true for today. A lot of people are still intrigued to see this home after seeing it in the movie. Now, the house was made originally from a number of Universal stock units, or that is other pieces to save money. The front of the house and the distinctive tower was the same one that was used in Harvey House on Colonial Street. And originally it consisted of just a left wall in the front of the house. That's all they really needed for the movie, and it created the illusion that the whole house was built. But why build the whole house if the only thing that the camera sees is the left and the front? And if you look at 1963, you will see that essentially this is where they began to build the other side of the wall, and then in 1983 the rear of the house was finally added. So it's crazy to think that 2 decades went by until this house actually had a rear end. Now, between 1959 and 1980, the house was in a primary first location. This was right near Singapore Lake. Now it's essentially where the Jaws attraction is, and it's very close to Laramie Street as well. And again, as I mentioned, the house only had 2 sides. You can see these images where you can see the 2 sides, and everything else is just strewn about lumber just to help keep the structure sturdy, but there was no rear back on this home. In 1980, the Psycho house set was being dismantled because they were building additional parts to Universal Studios, the City Walk, as well as the new upper lot. So it wasn't really a new location. They just temporarily moved it just a little bit before it went to the real second location, and that is from about 1982 to 1986. They put it in a more remote area because they were trying to get ready for Psycho 2, that was in 1983, and they had to build other things as well as adding an additional 30 feet of the Bates Motel that was built for that movie and other things that were needed. And from 1986 to the present day, adjacent to the old Falls Lake where the swamp scenes were filmed in the original movie of Psycho, the house and the motel, they were recently restored, and the house was put in this position in 86 when the Falls Lake backdrop was being built, and it was moved when this construction work started. And that's pretty much where it has stayed to this time, and it looks great. It recreates what it looks like as well in the movie, But it's cool to see that, yes, it is the original house, even though things were added to it. Some people say, no, it's a replica house. No, it's an actual house that was in the movie. So it's so great to see. It's so great to see that it's still in the studio tour today. And they're even adding an actor to make it look like it's Norman Bates coming at you where you're driving by. It's really, really cool. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Are you a fan of the movie? Are you a fan of the house as well? You could probably go take a look at it if you take a trip down to Studio City and just enjoy and see this piece of Hollywood history that is still standing. Thanks so much for the support. If you want to see more videos of my trip, I do have more footage, so I would love to share them with you. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget, everyone, be hopeful. Thank you to all my supporters, especially my Diamond tier patrons: Russ C, Sally N, Vito L, Citizen Kane 359, David D, Jerry D, Jennifer P, and Kevin K. If you want to join this list and be a patron supporter, it does help out so much, and I thank you ahead of time.